all wanted to be like them. They fascinated us, but we still thought they were like us. The rise and the downfall of relatable white girls, and how Emma Chamberlain outsmarted them all. If you were using the internet in 2018, specifically YouTube, you might have seen these girls and these kind of videos all over. Well, reasonable. These girls were what we all as teenage girls wanted to be like. So, how did sitting in front of a camera, vlogging your life, and just doing day-to-day activities while self-deprecating make these girls so popular? I think it's really important to go back and look back at this trend now that it is 100% over and reanalyze how it swept over the entire YouTube community and internet for a period of time, and how these girls eventually fell back down. So, the relatable white girl trend, also known as the dope girls, were a group of girls who grew popular mostly in 2018 thanks to the new way of vlogging that became trendy. But what was different about these girls? Because people had been vlogging on YouTube for years. So, what was it about these girls that made us give them so much success and enjoy their content so much? Well, it was their relatableness. And what I mean by that is all of a sudden we found comfort in watching these young teenage girls like us talking to their cameras, taking us out while they're getting their coffee, eating their breakfast, burping and farting because we thought they were relatable. These girls were just like us. We saw these girls and we were like, wow, they're just like us, when in reality we couldn't be further from the truth. Now, if you take a look at these girls, there are few things they have in common aside from being white. They're pretty. They're really beautiful girls, and not just girls you would just normally see on a daily basis, but girls who would be in movies and magazine catalogs.
This is just because of what my mom did.
I mean, you could just be a model, that counts, right?
No, I really don't want to be a model.
Why not?
But somehow they managed to make us feel like we were like them. Like this was finally the era of YouTube where people like us were in front of the camera and were doing things we did. Now, these girls' platforms started growing more and more, and over time it became harder for them to still be relatable because the money started coming in and it was harder for them to hide the fact that they were relatable. Sure, they might have tried to hide their huge success and how unrelatable they were, but over time we did realize it. Now, let's talk about their downfall. And there's actually a lot to address about that because many things brought about their downfall and not just one thing. So we were in an era where vlogging your life and being pretty and white was the only requirement to being successful. But there was also this similar editing style we started seeing everywhere, i.e. Ken Burns' distorted faces and quirky text popping around the screen. But what these relatable girls didn't realize though, and this is how Emma Chamberlain outsmarted them, is that this was just a trend. It was not going to last. No trend ever lasts. And these girls built their platform from this. This is how people knew them. This is what people enjoyed watching from them. And apart from that super cool new editing style, what else did they have to offer to their viewers? But Emma, on the other hand, being similar to them, was in fact very different. She had a personality aside from being part of the relatable white girl trend. She was actually funny. And when this trend finally drowned, who clearly stayed afloat? Emma. And the other girls drowned with the trend. It is important to note how Emma really isn't relatable anymore. We can't lie about that. And she does still try to mask some part of her huge success. But we know. But that doesn't matter anymore because that trend is done. Emma Chamberlain, we still watch her videos. I still watch her videos. I listen to her podcasts and keep up with some projects she does because she actually has something to offer. Also, it's important to mention the fact that Emma did jump ship early, but we'll talk about that later. So these relatable white girls were all uploading the same kind of content, and when that trend finally came to an end, they were left in the dark because what were we actually watching them for in the end? Now, the next thing I want to touch up on is the Dote scandal, and this is an important moment that really kind of put an end to this trend and unveiled the curtains. The scandal shed a huge light on what was going on behind the scenes of the Dote trips. If you don't know Dote, it was a company where you could buy a bunch of clothes from different stores in the same place. And it was very successful in 2018. And Dote was sponsoring a bunch of people on YouTube, not just these girls. But these girls were being paid more attention to, and they were the ones that were being sent on trips. But there was something about this that we were all blind to. Once the people of color sponsored by Dote started coming out with their stories, people realized the unfairness that was going on behind the scenes, the racism, the discrimination, and the hierarchies. All of a sudden, we realized, wow, these girls are not like us. They're not relatable. And we realized the metaphor to our own lives. They're basically the mean girls we all know/knew in high school. Popular because they were pretty and had privilege and nothing else. These girls didn't need to have a personality or be funny or anything else because they were white and pretty. And that's really when everything started breaking apart. They weren't like us, but we were being molded and becoming like them. We wanted the same style, the same coffee drink, the same expression. And in the end, we realized how far from our reality they actually are. These girls were getting everything and they were nothing like us. Also, do we need to add the leaked videos of Hannah Maloche and Summer McKeen, because that just exposed them and brought out their real personality, not the quirky ones they were trying to present to us on YouTube. Now, Emma Chamberlain, the smartest girl in this whole group, she realized before everyone else that this was not going to last and these girls were going down, this trend was going down, and before everything fell apart, she completely dissociated herself with them. I'm not sure what she realized, actually. I wish I knew, but whatever it was factored in saving her career and keeping her on the relevant side, aside from the fact that she's actually funny. Now, after this happened, what was left for these girls who just couldn't get away with vlogging their lives anymore and making millions? They went back to their old style of YouTube videos with their how-to lookbooks, Q&As, tours. Emma, on the other hand, people are still interested and they're still in it to watch her just be her. But the others reverted back to the content they were making before this trend. Now, I'm not saying these girls fell because they were pretty. I'm saying they fell because all they were was pretty. Take Nelia Devora, for example. She's beautiful, no questions asked. But she does have a personality. She's actually funny. And that's the side of YouTube we are on now. That's the trend we are in. You actually need to be funny. You can't just sit in front of your camera, sipping on your iced coffee and talking about how bad you have it and make millions. It just doesn't work. We've outgrown it, and I'm so glad. Take a look at Larray, for example. This guy is hilarious, and he has a personality. Obviously, there's still people with no personality or a sense of humor thriving, but I do think we have evolved and the world has become aware of the unfair racism and discrimination that was going on within this trend. And I think the whole Dote situation is a prime example of when cancel culture was done right. They were actually held accountable. Anyways, that's all I have to say today. There's literally so much more to talk about, and I just merely touched on the surface of this topic. Now that we're fully out of there, looking back at the situation is just super interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed, at least I did, and I'll be doing a lot more of these analyses because they're super fun. Also, I might do an in-depth analysis on Emma Chamberlain's whole self because I find her really interesting. So let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Bye.